Let's take them back, yo. Back to the daytime.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'm gonna hang out in the back. My daughter's ballet class just ended, so I'll be on my way home shortly.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Ward 7 Education Council meeting for November. Just one moment, we'll get started. Sorry, I made a mistake. Should say Native American Heritage Month, not Hispanic Heritage. It was from last month. Last month was Hispanic Heritage. This month, we're celebrating Native American Heritage Month. So we want to keep that in mind, whose land we are on, and the history of Native people in America. I want to take you through our agenda. Our agenda is, I give a overview of the agenda. Then we'll hear from Eastern High School Principal Stephen Miller. Then we will have our 24 for 24 new segment, and that will feature Ward 7 candidate Ebbon and also Veda Rasheed. And then we will conclude the meeting as we always do with Eboni-Rose Thompson, our Ward 7 representative, state board representative, and board president, bringing us updates. In addition to that, I really want to say from the onset, for those of you who have not been to a Ward 7 meeting, this is a collaborative space, not an adversarial space. So when we do get to hear from candidates, we're just going to ask questions. They'll get to answer. This is not a debate. We just want to hear what they think about some educational issues. Education is too important of an item for our children for us to politicize it here, but we do think it's important that we hear from the announced candidates. With that being said, I just wanted to, I'll reiterate that later, because people will say, can I ask a question? That's not this space. We just want to hear some basic ideas from the Ward 7 candidates. And I'm sure there'll be lots of opportunity throughout the election season for debate or forums of that kind. That is not this space. With that being said, I want to bring forward the principal of Eastern High School in DC Public Schools, Mr. Stephen Miller. We want to welcome Mr. Miller to the Ward 7 Ed Council. This is his first time coming. Is it your first time coming?
Second time. I was here
to the
last.
meeting, but
Yep,
presenting. I know you've been to meetings, but I'm talking about presenting. This is your first time presenting, right?
I thought I presented last year.
Okay, I'm old. I'm
That's
forgetting. But anyway, we want to welcome you and the Eastern family into Ward 7 to present. So I'm going to stop sharing. Do you need presentation rights?
Yeah, if
Yep.
you don't mind, let's see.
I'm going to make you a host. Give me 1 second.
Thank you. And good evening, everybody. Thank you for having me. It's great to be back. I know we are the Ward 7's newest high school. We've been in Ward 6 for approximately 100 years until last year. So we joined last year, Ward 7. It's great to be here. Let's see if I can share my, yep, now I can share my screen. So yeah, thank you for letting me talk to you about Eastern tonight. I'll just kind of give you an overview of what's going on at Eastern and take you through some of our slides here. And then if you have questions, I'd be really happy to answer. Normally, you would not see me in a hoodie coming to a meeting like this, but it is our homecoming week. We just had our pep rally, which was fantastic, and we're having a lot of fun this week. Our homecoming dance is happening behind me. Tonight it's already kicked off, so right after I'm finished here, I'll be joining that. But we're having a great week and really good start to the year over here at Eastern. But let me take you through a few slides and show you what's going on. Oh, there we go. So first and foremost, what I try to tell everybody about Eastern right now is we are on the move. We are doing a lot of things. There's a lot of great momentum at Eastern right now. Our enrollment has been up for 2 years straight now after pretty much a decade of slow declines. Our in-boundary students, we're finally starting to capture a few more of those. Our advanced academics is up. Our dual enrollment is up. Our activities and athletics are tremendous right now, and the students are really enjoying that, and our college acceptances are up. So we're feeling really, really good about where we're headed and where we're at right now. Our a few numbers, our enrollment, you can see where we've come from. We were in the low 700s 2 years ago. Now we're in 870. I think back in its heyday, Eastern was up in multiple. We had multiple campuses, and we had over 2,000 students. So we're getting back. We're getting back students, and a lot of that has been to the great work of our feeder elementary and middle schools as well. So a big shout out to what the work that they've done to keep students in DCPS and getting them through our doors. So we're very happy about that. The more students we have, the more we can offer, the more opportunities we can give our young people. So we're very, very happy about that. If you don't know much about Eastern, I would say that the biggest thing that makes us stand out on the academic side is the IB program, the International Baccalaureate program. We are the only DCPS high school that has both the IB diploma program and the IB middle years program. Middle years is 8th through 10th grade, and diploma program is 11th and 12th. Banneker has the diploma program, but doesn't have the middle years program. So we are the only school with both. And many people are familiar with AP, advanced placement courses, basically college level courses that you take in high school. IB is very similar, only instead of kind of an a la carte menu like you have with AP, taking one class that you're interested in, IB is meant to take together. So you take 7 IB courses, and in my opinion, it's the most rigorous thing you can do in high school is take 7 IB courses, and we have a lot of students doing that. So we're very happy about this program, and it's growing rapidly here at Eastern. I'll skip over this slide. We also have the EPIC program. We noticed in years past with the IB program, diploma program, some students were not making it to 11th and 12th grade ready for that level of rigor, those 7 classes. So we implemented EPIC, which is Eastern's pre-IB program or cohort. And this is for 9th and 10th graders to really start building them up and getting them ready. EPIC has been growing. It's doubled in the last 2 years. So we're very excited about that. We want to make sure it's continuing to be a pipeline to advance academic work for our students. So we're very, very happy about the way those 2 programs are going. New this year, we're also very excited. The Ed Equity Lab, which is a national organization, they actually piloted offering dual enrollment or college courses in high school in the building, not having students having to travel across town or visit a university in person, but actually doing it in the building. They piloted this last year with our Ward 7 rival, HD Woodson, and it went really well. Principal Massey said, "Steve, you guys got to do this," and so we picked it up, and we're very happy this year. We're partnering with the Wharton School of Business out of the University of Penn and Arizona State University. So our students are taking courses at these 2 universities and getting credit at those universities, but they do it at Eastern. They don't have to leave and travel and get either on the metro or whatever and travel across town to take those university courses while they're still in high school and able to access all the supports that we have here for them. So we were very, very excited about that. It seems like it's going well, and if it continues to go well, we'll expand that next year. and probably partner with a few more universities. So that's on the left side. On the right side, you'll see all of our traditional off-campus dual enrollment offerings, which are pretty universal across DCPS, but we have students at almost all of those this year taking courses. So we're pretty happy with our dual enrollment offerings as well, so that kids can start working towards college credit while they're here at Eastern. New to Eastern also this year, we have our new IT Academy. So this was we sent out a questionnaire to students and families last year. We said, we're growing. What do you want to offer? What do you want us to offer your students? And this came out on top. The IT Academy is designed to give kids industry certifications while they're here in high school. Whether they plan to go straight into the industry out of college, which they can do, especially with that A+ certification, or proceed on to a college or university. We feel like this academy is really going to help set them apart and get them prepared. So we're excited to offer that. It had very high enrollment this first year, and we will build it out each year. So this year it's just the level 1 course, and then there will be 4 levels that the students proceed through. So we're happy to offer that on top of what we've previously offered as an academy, which is our Health Science Academy. This is for people who are interested in any number of health science, whether it's veterinary medicine or human medicine or EMT, or they want to become a doctor, or any of those things. They get some level of preparation for in our Health Science Academy. And they can even leave with and graduate with an EMT certification, so that if they would like to, they can go right into that industry and hit the ground running. So we're very happy about both of those, especially for students who aren't sure if they want to go to college, want to keep it as an option, but they also want to work towards some industry certifications while they're here. So we're very happy about those offerings as well. And then one of the last things I'll mention is just all the other things that make us a comprehensive neighborhood high school. We have over 18 athletic teams. It says 18 plus because it does change every year. And this year we haven't. We don't know what we'll be able to offer in the winter and spring. We want to expand, and we've been expanding, but the DCIAA limits us as to what we can add in 1 year. So we're moving on that. Our esports team, which if you're not familiar, kids play video games now as a sport, and they earn college scholarships for this. And it's amazing to me. I had no idea what this was when I became the principal at Eastern a year and a half ago. And I learned that previous year's graduating class, all the esports athletes graduated with scholarship money to go to university. So I was a big supporter, and we have an amazing team, by far the best in DC and the Mid-Atlantic. We even have a national champion and several Mid-Atlantic champions in their respective game titles that they play on. But it's fantastic. We also, what most people in Ward 6 and Ward 7 know us for is our blue and white marching band. They are fantastic. They play 3 to 4 events a week, just about, including at the White House this fall. They played many events for the mayor. They're frequently called upon for different events around the city to perform, as well as just today, going to some of our feeder elementary schools. They went to Tyler Elementary and performed for the kids there. So they are amazing. They are incredibly disciplined and just an exemplar for excellence here, as well as the Lady Gems Dance Squad. They are consistently winning invitational tournaments around the country for their dance work, and they march right along with the blue and white marching machine. So we're very proud of them. They will be playing tomorrow at our homecoming game with our alumni from the Blue and White Marching Machine Band are coming to play. It's going to be an amazing show. So if anybody's in the area, you should come check us out. We also offer just a lot of other after school clubs. Our garden is fantastic, and we are starting to sell our produce at, in past, we've sold our produce at farmers markets in the area, and now we're starting to sell at brick and mortar bodegas around town as well. So Eastern grown produce by our students is being sold. That money goes back into the program, and it's been really a great opportunity for us. We also have GROTC and a lot of other internship opportunities as well. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. We have a ton of things because we're a big neighborhood comprehensive high school, and we can do that. The last thing I want to leave you with is just a couple highlights. We are celebrating our 100th year here at 1700 East Capitol Street. If you're not familiar, in between the U.S. Capitol and RFK, it's a beautiful location. We have a beautiful school. This year became a DC historic landmark, and we hope to soon have federal landmark status as well. This year we also became a U.S. State Department medallion school for what we're doing with international exchange students, and we were runner-up for the best high school in DC in the city paper. So we're feeling very good about where we're headed. But we still have a lot of work to do. We still have a lot of very disadvantaged students coming to us who've experienced a lot of trauma over the course of the pandemic. They need a lot of supports, and I'm very, very proud to be a part of that effort in getting those supports to those students and helping them just be excellent. So that's us. That's Eastern this year, and that I will stop sharing and open it up.
Thank you, Principal Miller. We're going to, if you have a question for Principal Miller, you can do one of two things. You can put it in the chat, or you can raise your hand, and I will recognize you, and you'll have an opportunity to ask those questions. I want to say thank you for that overview. It was great to see what's happening at Eastern. Last month, we had HD and BART. So there are just a number of wonderful options in our community, and we're very excited about that. I had the pleasure of having the band perform at an event that I was at for the Greater Washington Community Foundation. They were phenomenal. Everybody loved them. So just really excited about that. We have someone saying it's great to hear about the IB programming. I was really surprised to learn, but excited to hear that you have so many dual enrollment kind of options. And so that's really exciting. Are there questions from anyone or any in the chat? More accolades, great presentation, keep up the good work. Any other questions? Yes. President Thompson, you wanna come off mute?
Sure. Happy to see Principal Miller. I know that he's been doing phenomenal work at Eastern. I'm super excited to hear that my, or I knew, but that my alma mater is one of the two schools that's doing the dual enrollment, because I'm a Penn alum. I'm curious, when you're thinking about adding on new partnerships and new programs, I know Wharton is a business school. It is like the business school to go to. What would you be looking for, or what types of content would you be looking for in other partners in the future?
That's a great question. So the Ed Equity Lab has partnered with DCPS on this, and now that they piloted it at HD, they offered it to the rest of us, and I jumped quickly. But at the same time, I wanted to make sure it went well. So we're doing one course a semester. The fall is with Wharton. The spring will be with Arizona State, and then next year we'll probably go to two, based on what's happening right now. And we'll continue to add as long as there's students who are taking those courses. But to answer your question, it will really be probably student driven on that. So Ed Equity Lab offers us really a menu of courses, and then we say, well, we think our students would be interested in this. I think along the business lines, and law, for us in particular. We have a history of that, but our recent history, we have gotten away from it. So I know the community would really like us to offer that, and if we have the students ready to jump at that, then that's probably the direction that we would go. But at the same time, I do think we would follow a similar process to what we did last year, which is kind of pull the students directly and the families directly and see what they would be interested in, and then try to tailor it from the ground up, if you will. But what we're thinking at this moment would be probably some more business and additional law classes.
Thank you, Principal Miller. I was not going to say anything, but then I'm going to claim Pan too, because that's where I did my doctoral studies. So I wasn't going to say it, but I'll claim it now. Delia, would you like to come off mute and ask your question?
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you for this great presentation and overview of the opportunities provided at Eastern, as well as where you think you all are headed. I currently have 3 scholars that live with me in Ward 7. My oldest daughter is currently at Jackson Reed, and my 2 youngest, one is at Alice Deal and the other is at Janney. Obviously, I am really looking forward to bringing them closer to home. And so Eastern is one of those schools that we are really eyeing as an opportunity. And so one of the questions, and I love the fact that you mentioned the IB programs and the dual enrollment programs, because my oldest is actually involved in, both of those while at Jackson Reed. So my question is more, conceptual, but what would you say to parents such as myself who have students that are in Ward 7 that are looking for options closer to home? What would you say to us, and how would you sell Eastern as a real viable opportunity for their education? I can tell you, I am totally looking like, listen, if my oldest could transfer right now, we would, because that commute is horrible, and I'm really looking forward to reducing that commute, and didn't realize all the great things that Eastern has there to offer, but would definitely love to hear more from you in terms of, how would you sell Eastern to parents such as myself who are traveling each and every day, have, an hour to take their children to schools that are completely outside of our boundaries, but would love to, tap into some of those great opportunities more locally.
Yeah, thank you for that question. And I know that commute. I before I was at Eastern, I was at Jackson Reed, and I live right by Eastern, so that is a heck of a commute, and I definitely empathize with that, having to go every day both ways. So to answer your question about what I would say to parents is give us a hard look, come in the building and see what we offer and see what our classes and what our kids are doing in the building. Every parent that I've done that with has been very pleased. When they come into the building, they see what our courses are. They can sit in on classes. They see the level of rigor that exists here, and that it's growing. I think in the past, it was small, and it was a very specialized experience, and it's still not the majority of the experience for our upperclassmen right now, but it's growing at our 9th, 10th, and even at our 11th graders right now. It's starting to be to where they're taking rigorous college prep or career prep that is very rigorous type courses, and I would put us up against Jackson Reed any day, and I've been there, and I can say that Jackson Reed does a great job with what they have. They have 6 different academies, I believe, and they do well with the college prep stuff as well, and that's what we're fostering here. In addition to a serious focus on career prep, because we know college is not the right path for every child, and they don't want to do that. They want to pursue a high paying, high skilled career, and we're going to do that as well. But I would put us up against Jackson Reed any day on the advanced academics, and don't take my word for it. Just schedule a time, and we can sit in on some of the classes. You pick the day, and we'll set it up.
Thank you, Principal Miller. I know that you have homecoming tonight,
That's right.
a dance.
Well, homecoming dance. Yeah.
Dance, right. And so I'm going to get you out of here. I do want to put in, make sure that everyone noticed in the chat that Amy said, please reach out, contact the Eastern PTO. And the email is in the chat if you have more questions. I know there's an appeal at the end for ELSA member from Ward 7 for Eastern that will make. So we'll make that available. I want to say wholesalely, I put in the chat a link to our YouTube page where all our videos for meetings are. And I am here to say, if you listen to what Eastern has to offer, if you listen to the video from last month, what HD has to offer, what Bard has to offer, there is literally no reason to sit in 2 hours of traffic there and back anymore. You'll be amazed. You will simply be amazed at what's going on at all of these schools. And what people may have thought, what reputations may have been, that is not what is happening in those schools. So I hope you will take the time to click on that link. This video will be added at the end of this meeting, because there is no reason for anyone to leave and go all the way up to Ward 3 anymore, or with the fantastic schools that we have in our community. So Principal Miller, I want to let you go. I want to thank you. And we will be in contact with you again at the end of this meeting. We'll make an appeal for someone to sit on LSAT for Eastern.
That's what I was going to ask. Yep.
Yep, and we're going to do that at the end of the meeting. Perfect. I thank you for your time. Have fun, and can't wait to hear how good of time the students will have tonight. So thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you all. Have a great night.
So, okay. Now we're going to move on to our 24 to 24. And we're going to bring up our first candidate, Mr. Ebbon Allen. Let me ping you. So don't want Delia to think I didn't see her comment. I absolutely understand what you're saying. Lifelong educator, I get it. Would love to talk to you about it and just have a discussion. With that being said, Mr. Allen, how are you doing today?
Good evening. How you doing, Dr. Dean?
I am well. I am well.
Good.
So let's get into it. We got 24 minutes.
No question. No question.
It is 7:05. Okay.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So with that, why are you running for Ward 7 council member?
But first of all, I want to thank you, Dr. Dean, for having me here for the Ward 7 Education Council. I think you guys have been doing an excellent job within our communities, representing and advocating for our parents and our scholars here in Ward 7. I'm running for Ward 7 because we need a leader that's going to actually lead our new communities. Want to welcome Eastern Senior High School, the Capitol Hill community, and also the Rosedale community to Ward 7. Want to welcome them, but also want to make sure we preserve the rich history of Hillcrest, but not to forget those individuals that are marginalized and underserved within Ward 7. Also, we need grocery stores, quality grocery stores. We need more programming within our schools and also our rec centers. I believe the DPR should extend their rec time as well. And also we need sit-down restaurants. That's very, very critical. I want seniors and children to feel safe within their communities. I want to create a safe space, not just for my sons, but their friends and their families. And also we want to promote career technology education. just like an Idea Public Charter School. We also want to have more rec centers, such as the Woody Ward Recreational Center in Marshall Heights. And I think that's very, very critical. And so I just want to represent all 75,000 constituents of Ward 7 and just become the strong leader and advocate and champion that I've always been.
Thank you. Thank you. So what distinguishes you from the field or the anticipated field? Why you?
Yes, well, yes, that's an excellent question, Dr. Dean. My profile has been, I think, phenomenal. With start initiating Black Kings That Read literacy at C.W. Harris Elementary. I've read to over maybe 100 first graders. I've had brothers from all across the DMV come read other Black Kings That Read literacy. I've also initiated last year Morehouse Day, where we've talked to 450 young scholars. Two of those schools were Ron Brown Middle School and also Kelly Miller Middle School. And that school is where both of my parents attended. And so that was dear to me. We actually had our kickoff at Kelly Miller Middle School, Morehouse Day. And so I think that's been very, very excellent and effective. Also, I was the ANC 7E chairman for public safety, the Public Safety Committee, where I worked along with Delia Husil and the rest of the ANC commissioners, where we hosted ANC 7E Public Safety Day. And I think that was a very successful event as well, where we brought a few of the neighborhoods to be able to come and unpack some of the solutions that's needed regarding this public safety and this crime. And so that was very, very important. And also just being a family man and also just loving my wife, who's Afro-Latina, and my 3 beautiful sons who actually attends DC Bilingual. And so, yes, we definitely want to even have more dual language schools here in Ward 7. So my kids don't have to go uptown. But actually, my wife is an educator and she's an assistant principal at DC Bilingual. So it makes sense that my sons will be able to go to a dual language school. But we also definitely, I'm a strong advocate for bringing dual language schools, elementary and the middle school level to Ward 7. So I think that definitely stands out. And I've just been naturally giving back. It's been a natural thing. I haven't always had the title of an ANC commissioner. Just as of last year, again, I've had Morehouse Day, and that's been very, very successful. And Black Kings That Read, just being able to inform and educate in the power of the first graders at C.W. Harris Elementary, I think has been a successful motivating and actual program for C.W. Harris.
2 things. The next time you have a Morehouse Day, let me know. Maybe my son, who's a Morehouse grad.
Yes.
Okay, so don't count him out. He lives in Atlanta, but he's here often. And
yes.
Then also, it was another thing I was going to say to you, but I'll remember. Okay, that's it. But thank you very much. So
excellent.
What, that's what I was going to say. I'm on the DC Boundary Committee.
Sure.
And I'm strongly advocating for a dual language middle school.
Excellent.
And here in Ward 7.
I would definitely support that.
Big conversation.
Yes.
Moving on, what experience do you have with education or education policy?
Yes, so I actually was an academic coordinator at Howard University's Upward Bound Math and Science program, where at least 80% of our students actually end up going to college and so post-secondary. And so that was a phenomenal program. We also work with so many students within the DMV for DC Public School, DC Charter Schools, and also Prince George's County Public Schools. And I believe that's been a very, very success with that. And then, of course, just to piggyback also again about Black Kings That Read literacy and also Morehouse Day, where at Morehouse Day, we actually talked about books over bullets, applying for scholarships and grants, the Morehouse brand, and also starting your own business. Those are very, very critical topics that centers around it. Yes, so that's very, very important. And I've been in education for 20 plus years. Been an educator for 20 years. Actually, I worked at Idea Public Charter School last year where the actually shooting took place. So we need more school resource officers within our schools as well. So I strongly am an advocate for the SROs coming back into the schools because a lot of our scholars were traumatized with that 3rd day of the shooting that took place at Idea Public Charter School.
So with that being said, what is your education platform?
My education platform, actually one is to build a new STEAM CTE program building for middle school students, actually career technology education. And STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, the arts, and mathematics. I feel that even our middle school students, they do not have enough options. And so I believe a STEAM middle school will create those options for those families to be able to select. And then the CTE career technical education program, we can also feed those students into even Eastern, and also Idea Public Charter School. I know those programs are pretty effective because all of our scholars don't have the accessibility to go to college. All of our scholars don't have the resources to go to college. So I believe that those are strong components that be able to create opportunities and programs offered for our scholars.
Okay. So with mayoral control, council members actually have limited power or authority over education in the district. So how do you plan to effectuate your education platform?
Yes, through collaboration with the city council, collaboration with the chancellor, collaboration with the mayor. And so that's very critical that we're all supporting one another, but also just making sure that the vision of the Ward 7 schools are getting their due diligence and equity with all the other schools. There is a new high school called MacArthur High School in Ward 3. And so a lot of our scholars are migrating and actually going to those particular schools. And why can't we just keep our top scholars within the ward? That's very, very important. But I also understand that Chancellor Furby has talked about the building blocks with math literacy and math fluency. So I strongly support that, but also reading literacy as well, at the pre-K level all the way up to 12th grade. Those are very, very important. So collaboration is key, but not losing sight of making sure that Ward 7 education becomes a top priority, but also working with the civic associations, also the grassroots organizations, and also I can't forget the Ward 7 Education Council, for collaboration and working with each other to build an effective platform to educate our scholars.
Thank you. So our final question is, what final remarks or what else would you like to say to the community?
I want to say to the community is that I'm the best candidate for this Ward 7 City Council. I'm a true champion for change. I'm a true advocate, and I'm going to give 100% of being able to advocate and represent the people. It's very, very important. So it's very, very important that I'm glad that I'm willing to do collaborations with all the ANC commissioners, with all our grassroots organizations, with all our violence interrupters. It's all about funding, but it's also about support, 100% support. And that's very key to me. Please make sure you follow me at Ebbon47.com. Please join the movement, Ebbon47, and we're going to make a difference. United we stand. We are Ward 7.
Thank you, candidate Allen. We really appreciate you coming to the Ward 7 Ed Council and sharing with your views and your aspirations. Thank you, and have a good evening. Okay. Just so we'll know where we are in the agenda, we heard from Principal Stephen Miller from Eastern High School. We just completed our 24 for 24 with Evan Allen, candidate for Ward 7, DC Council. And now we want to bring up candidate Veda Rasheed, also candidate for Ward 7 DC Council. Let me find you so that I can, your timing was perfect. Okay, just one moment. I'll see you in a minute. There you are. Okay. Thank you, candidate Veda Rasheed. Welcome to the Ward 7 Education Council.
Hello, Dr. Dean. Thank you for having me here tonight with the Ward 7 Education Council.
We're glad to receive you. Why are you running for Ward 7 council member?
Well, I'm running for the Ward 7 council seat because I believe the residents of Ward 7 deserve active and present leadership on the council. And as a lifelong resident of Ward 7, I have experienced the highs and the lows of living here. And I have seen the impacts the lows have on our youth. My own children have been impacted by the violence plaguing our city, whether it's a bullet piercing through their classroom window at school or experiencing their half-brother being murdered at just 15 years old, just steps away from his front door. And our kids do not feel safe. And it's because of these adverse childhood experiences that cause a ripple effect for our youth. So it is important that we act to protect them now so they can thrive as adults later. I have been active as a resident of Ward 7, working on youth violence issues with other community members without a title for a long time. And as a lifelong resident of Ward 7, I have also seen the unfulfilled promises of economic development and educational and recreational improvements and the insufficient response from leadership. And I'm running because we deserve more. And I look forward to taking my advocacy, experience, professional skill set, and my knowledge of city government to the DC Council where I will tackle the tough issues that have been stifling our board for much too long.
Thank you. So what distinguishes you from the field or the anticipated field?
So I would say as a native Washingtonian, as a single mother, as a lifelong resident of Ward 7, I want to work for the community that has poured into me my entire life. I'm born here, reared here, educated right here in Washington, D.C. And I made a conscious decision to remain in Ward 7 after graduating from law school at the Catholic University of America, so that my community could see what a product of Ward 7 looked like. And it is this background that distinguishes me from the field, quite frankly. In addition to my lifelong learning in Ward 7, I had the education and the practical experience Ward 7 needs to address critical issues. We are facing criminal, juvenile justice, economic development, education, and racial equity. Not only am I the only licensed and practicing attorney in the field, I'm the only person who has served in every branch of the DC government, from the judicial branch as a clerk in the DC Superior Court, in the District of Columbia in the Criminal Division, as an elected official serving as a two-term ANC commissioner, as a mayoral appointee to the Commission on African American Affairs. I've served as an intern at the State Board of Education and on the agency level as a staff before our first elected Attorney General, Carl A. Racine.
Okay, thank you. What experiences do you have with education or education policy?
I'm a proud product of DC Public Schools. I attended River Terrace Elementary School, Daniel C. Roper Middle School, and I'm a proud graduate of Eastern Senior High School. I know Principal Miller was on here earlier. We're celebrating our 100 years. Our homecoming is tomorrow, and just as an active mother of two. So I have been engaging with the district's education system on a daily basis for over 15 years, having just graduating one son in 22, and my youngest son will graduate in 2026. I see a few familiar faces on here. So many of you may recognize me from the back to school events that I've hosted in Ward 7 over the last 8 years, all across the ward, including Ann Beers, Randall Highlands, Ridge Road Community Center, the Boys and Girls Club. Because what I do know is at a basic level, we must ensure that our children have the tools they need to succeed. So they only have to focus on their performance in school. And not only have I done that, I've also civically engaged our young people. I've brought Court of Appeal judges to Randall Highlands. I brought administrative law judges to Randall Highlands. So I've been doing a lot of things. I'm passionate about education. I learned how DC's unique education system works while serving as an intern to the State Board of Education, assisting in the drafting of legislation, the preparation of policy reports, and research. And I've continued my work in the education space, serving as an inaugural paid parent, which stands for Parents Amplifying Voices in Education. So I was a proud parent advocate, advocating on behalf of my family, as well as other Ward 7 families. And as the My School DC education representative for Ward 7, in these roles, I have been afforded the opportunity to advocate for the implementation of safe passages in our school, at-risk funding, out-of-time programming, and I would even say testified on the congressional level with our former House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, on the Child Nutrition Reauthorization Bill. And I would say it's a combination of all of these experiences that have prepared me to represent the residents of Ward 7 and work towards achieving the educational outcomes, not only that I see for my own children, but all of the children of Ward 7.
Thank you. So with all of that experience, what is your education platform?
So, when I'm out in the community and I'm speaking to parents like myself, this is what they're telling me. They're telling me that they want their kids to feel safe in and around school, have access to equitable education, learning classrooms that are not overcrowded, have an inclusive education system for students with special needs. And, most importantly, having access to state-of-the-art technology that will ultimately help them on their career path. What they want their kids to learn in schools that are habitable and clean. Classrooms with poor lighting or where there's mold, we know that's not conducive to their learning. So school programs, particularly after school, that will further their development and help keep them, off of the streets. So as your council member for Ward 7, I will always put the needs of parents and children first. Their voice will be heard as I fight for world-class education in every school and not just across the river. I'm committed to working with parents, teachers, and the Ward 7 Education Council, our Ward 7 state board representative to, ensure that our children receive the education they deserve because they are the future leaders of the community and the city. So we have to make sure that we're pouring into our young people daily.
Thank you. So with mayoral control, council members actually have limited power or authority over education in the district. So how do you plan to effectuate your education platform?
Well, thank you for that question. My plan to execute my education platform involves working directly with and in collaboration with Ward 7 residents. And we do this through efforts of organizations like this, the Ward 7 Education Council, and our State Board of Education representative, as well as our youth, our parents, our educators, and our advocates. As a council member, I'm going to fight to ensure that Ward 7 education priorities are protected and properly funded during budget season, and that I attend and pay close attention to the government responses to education issues during council oversight hearings. Ensuring that money goes to the schools and wards that need it first. I tell people all the time, there's no greater voice than the parents and other Ward 7 residents advocating for what they need in their school. And you have the voice to galvanize what you want to see. Ward 7 has a tremendous amount of talented and passionate people. I say that again. Ward 7 has a tremendous amount of talented and passionate people. But we need a leader that can bring the talent to the table for a coordinated effort that brings transformational change to the lives of Ward 7 residents. And as your council member for Ward 7, I will invite Ward 7 residents to provide testimony, encourage residents to write letters, and support our ANCs, when we're passing resolutions that positively impact education outcomes for the ward. So thank you.
So our final question, what would you like to say as you close in this segment of 24 for 24 to the Ward 7 Education Council and to the community?
So first, Dr. Dean, I would like to thank you for having me on today. It's truly a pleasure anytime that I can get around my neighbors and hopefully my future constituents to speak. I would ask you for your support, and I would also ask you to go to my website. It's www.voteforveda.com. And if you have any questions or you would like to reach out to me, I can be reached there, or you can reach me at info@voteforveda.com, and I'll drop that in the chat. And I would definitely ask you for your continued support for those people that support me. And if you're not, I would hope to ask you for your support today.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming to the Ward 7 Education Council.
Thank you, Dr. Dean.
Okay. Well, that ends our 24 for 24 segment for this month. As candidates formally announce, we will be inviting them in the order in which they announce their candidacy to the Ward 7 Education Council to ask them questions about education, their platform, and how they plan to effectuate their platform. With that being said, every Ward 7 Education Council meeting, we have the State Board of Education Board President and Ward 7 Rep come and bring us updates from the State Board. Eboni-Rose Thompson, let me ping you.
Okay. Good evening.
Wait a minute. I don't have the right person pinned. Hold on one second. Okay, here it comes. Hold on one second. And let me unpin. Sorry, Miss Denise Edwards, for pinning you. Okay, and let me unpin myself. Okay,
Are we good?
yes.
All right. Good evening, everyone. If we have not met, my name is Eboni-Rose Thompson. I do represent Ward 7 on the state board, and am the president of the state board. A few things. It's been a really busy month for the board since I've seen you last. First thing, we already this month, we have had teacher appreciation event at Drew Elementary. We were able to partner with the Mystics and the Lids Foundation actually to gift Drew at least $25,000 in different supplies. I really appreciate Principal Salahuddin, who secretly put together a wish list from all of her teachers, everything from bookshelves to bean bags to construction paper, headphones, whatever they needed for their classrooms are what we were able to purchase. That partnership went well, so I'm hoping we can adopt and surprise at least one school a year. So really excited about that. Second, since I have seen you all last, we have started engagement around the DC school report card. And when I finish talking, I will put in the chat the link to the next 2 engagement sessions. We did have the first one on Monday evening at MLK Library. The next 2 are virtual. The school report card, if you care about how we are showcasing what quality is in our schools, this is a conversation for you. We will also be at FS to connect with families around this, both us and OSTE. So we are doing that engagement together. And if you're like, I couldn't come in person, the virtual times didn't work, I didn't make it to FS, either day of FS, which I'll get into later. We also have a survey. The questions are exactly the same. So the feedback will be weighted exactly the same because we want to reach and engage as many people as possible. We also had a breakfast with the council. This is the first time the board has done this. So I worked with Chairman Mendelson because we were noticing that there are more than one, I would say a few places right now that the council and the state board have shared priorities, which I think should be true. But we also need to get clearer on how the board can be a proactive policy partner. And a lot of people will talk about like, oh, the board doesn't have any power, but we actually do have some responsibilities. And so things like starting the financial literacy standards, which the first draft will be out in November. So I will let you all know as soon as that is available to you all, because that's something that many people in the community said were needed. Or I know Councilmember Lewis George has proposed some legislation around conflict resolution in schools. Those are things we will take care of in the social emotional learning standards. Those are places where we can work together because the council has a lot on its plate. We always, every month, hear from the gamut of education stakeholders. And we want to make sure as people come, as they testify, as they share, as they tell us their hopes, their needs, their wants, their dreams, that's being incorporated into policy, because the council is not always having education meetings every single month. So that breakfast was pretty successful. We also talked about teacher retention and how we can work together. I will be sending out the full hearing list for the fall in my next newsletter because I did get it from the chairman. In addition to, of course, some of the work around school safety. I had the privilege of appointing one of the members of that committee. For us, that representative will be Dan Davis. He is our chief student advocate. The reason we appointed Dan is because Safe Passage actually came out of our office, and he was one of the staffers who did a lot of work around that. And he has done a wonderful job of continuously engaging student voices around this. And we want to make sure that his continued expertise is part of that. And he will continue to reach out and coordinate both with the committees on the state board, the Office of the Student Advocate, and we will be doing some outreach across the community. So like I said, a lot going on at the state board. Finally, it is time for us to, well, we've been working on this for a few weeks, but the state board is a small agency. So surprise, I do run a small agency in DC government. And it is time for us to do budget enhancements. I'm telling you all of this because we actually will have a special call meeting this November 7th. Because of a change to the budget deadlines. So we will be voting on our enhancement requests, which include things like the special ed hub. That is something that has been serving families in the board, I would say, for the last 2 years, which has been really important. And we know there are a lot of families who need assistance with special education, but unfortunately has been funded through ESSER funds. And since that funding is going away, I'll be working really hard with the chairman in the mayor's office through this budget process to make sure, in addition to a few other positions, we are keeping positions that serve our families directly. So you all are welcome to watch virtually the meeting if you would like, but we will be voting on our enhancement requests. The board does not typically have special call meetings, so I want to let you know this is happening, but it will be November 7th at 5:30 p.m. And you can access the link through our DC State Board of Education website and YouTube page. I'm not sure if it'll be on, the public channel or not, because I haven't gotten confirmation yet. So those are my updates from the board. I do want to thank Marina and her baby, because they were phenomenal at passing out candy at the trunk or treat on Halloween. I think we had over 500 kids who attended, and then their parents. So I think that was a really good time. We'll do it again next year. And so I appreciate those who came out, decorated, and shared the information to make sure we had a safe space for our kids on Halloween.
So for those who don't know, Marina is the vice chair of the Ward 7 Education Council, who has a daughter who goes to Randall Highlands. So just want to say that. We have one question in the chat, and that is, what are your concerns, if any, regarding the current report card? In what ways, if you believe at all, does it, the current format put Ward 7 schools at a disadvantage?
So we are actually, I should say, because I want it to be very clear, this is not a tweak of the current report card. All of that ends because in order for us to have a new school report card, we actually had to submit an amendment to our ESSA plan for the state. So there will actually be new areas on the report card, and we're weighting things differently in addition to the question around like the display and the format. So I want to say that upfront, because I know that may or may not have been clear to some people. So it is a completely new report card. Things like growth are going to be weighted more heavily on this report card. Things like how we are serving Black students, how we are serving students whose first language might not be English. Things like how we are serving our SPED students are actually weighted more heavily in this formula that this iteration of the board approved. I say all that because that matters a lot for all of our schools, but especially for our Ward 7 schools and the populations they serve. I expect that what you will see is that in many ways, our schools will be more accurately portrayed for the positive work that they're doing. I mentioned earlier that Eastern has a really positive school climate because I've been to visit. Like I go a lot. They have a lot going on, and I know not every school is a fit for everybody. But one of the things that we will actually, what is happening? One of the things that we're actually including on these report cards, there's an opportunity to have surveys around school climate, which could be from students and from parents, and being able to lift those voices up directly and saying how they feel about their schools and their experiences. I imagine that is something that's important. I do believe student voice is probably one of the truest examples we have of how our schools are doing. in addition to like how they fare once they leave school. And so those are really good opportunities to showcase our schools. If there are things you want to see on the report card, please let me know. I'm happy to have conversations about the things that like have to be true, because this is part of ESSA as a federal requirement. And then all of the things that are possibilities beyond that.
One follow-up question, ESSA, you use that term. What does it mean?
I'm sorry. Yeah. ESSA. ESSA is actually the federal law. It's the Everyone Succeeds Act. It replaced No Child Left Behind. And it is what mandates every state has a school report card that includes things like academic proficiency, growth. It really is like how we measure our schools and how we are reporting data. So yeah, I've been in state board meetings most of the day, so I apologize for the for the wonky thing. Oh yeah, the recent recommendations. Thank you. Like I said, there's been a lot going on at the board. October 5th, we did release our new early literacy recommendations. I really want to thank my Ward 2 colleague, Alistair Chang, because he was our representative to that task force. The early literacy recommendations are really about, and the fancy way of saying is structured literacy, but if you are my age or older, you call it phonics. So it really is giving kids the skills that they need to be able to decode, because reading is really about decoding and then all the comprehension and all of the other content that we know and that we access when we read books. For the past, I don't know, 10, 15, maybe 20 years, unfortunately, we have not been teaching kids how to decode. And that's something we can fix. And so if we're not going to have a next generation of students who are like, you know, we have really high illiteracy adult rates in Ward 7, we can teach them how to read early. So these recommendations actually would mandate that teachers who are K through 5 receive structured literacy training so that they all know how to teach reading, because just because you can read does not mean you know how to teach reading. And it will also support making sure all of our reading specialists have the instruction they need to teach reading, in addition to other instructional materials and training supports. So I'm really excited about these. This is something we will be working really hard to support through funding, Davina. We don't get to allocate funding because that's not what the board does, but we are already in conversation, not just with OSSI, which is where many of these things will be housed, but with the Deputy Mayor for Education around the first leg of the mayor's budget and trying to make sure that this funding is in there. And then, of course, working with the chairman and the Fuller Council to make sure this is a fully funded recommendation, and also have council support because we work with council to actually say, OSSI, you have to do this. So it was, we were the ones who pushed them to legislate the mandate. So I know that there is council support for this. And of course, I'm always concerned about tight budget years, but funding should be coming FY25 is the goal.
Okay, so the highlight of that is phonics are back. Thank goodness. Okay, thank you very much for giving us those updates. We're going to just close out the meeting with a few announcements. We just heard from our board president and state board, Ward 7 representative for State Board of Education. And now we'll have a few announcements. As Principal Miller said, we are looking for a community representative needed for the LSAT. The LSAT is a very important committee or team at each DCPS schools that really helps to set the direction, the priorities of a school. And so if you are interested in being the Eastern LSAT representative for Ward 7, please reach out to me at Marla M. Dean, ward7@gmail.com. And it meets on the first Wednesday of each month at 5 p.m. Meetings last 1 hour and they are virtual. Also, we continue to have committees sign up for our budget and finance programs, communication outreach, legislative and membership. If you're interested in any of these, please, again, email me so we can get you ready to go and involved. There is quite a few things going on, like the master's facility plan, the school boundaries, a whole bunch of different hearings that will be happening with City Council on various education adjacent issues. There's so much to be engaged in, and we want you involved. And then as I said, next month, we will have our Ward 7 Education Council annual report. If there are some additional candidates, we'll have candidates from 24 to 24. And we'll also hear from Sousa Middle School principal. Will come to us and let us know what's going on at Sousa. This is the Ward 7 YouTube channel. Please scan now and make sure that you bookmark it. All Ward 7 meetings are uploaded to this YouTube channel. And so you can go back and hear all the discussions about all things education in the ward and much of what's going on in the district at large around education. With that, we are going to have, as I said earlier, I sit on the advisory committee on student assignments, which is the school boundary committee. We'll have meeting 8, December 5th, meeting 9, December 20th, meeting 10, January 10th of next year. There'll be town halls in December. Ward 7 actually did fairly well in coming out at the town halls that happened earlier in the year. So please get ready, speak to, they're gonna have real proposals around student boundaries at the town halls, and feedback will be important. If you want to learn about how to testify at a hearing, a council hearing, DC Action, which used to be called DC Action for Children, has parent trainings, and you can scan here, go to their website, learn about that process, get engaged so that you can understand that process, that format, and how to make a compelling argument. I want to thank you for coming to the Ward 7 Education Council. Have a good evening.
Carla,
And
sorry.
happy Thanksgiving. Okay, go ahead. What were you going to say?
Sorry, one more thing, because I think you all, I don't know if people know yet, but EdFest, the EdFest sign up is up. EdFest is having 2 dates this go around. Normally they do everything in one, I guess, foul swoop, but they will be at Eastern and at the Army, and they have split up the elementary and middle school dates. The elementary and middle schools will be one day, and then the high schools are a different day. So that will be the first and second Saturday in December. If you are a parent who is looking for schools and participating in the lottery this year, or if you just want to check out your neighborhood school, again, both locations are in Ward 7, which we appreciate, but this is a different format than previous years, and it is their first year back in person.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Again, EdFest, if you want to know about your neighborhood schools, if you want to know about schools at large, this is the place to go to learn about the schools in the district and help you make informed choices. Again, I want to thank you. Thank you all for coming. Have a good evening, and happy Thanksgiving to each of you.